when everyone is asking me why you became an engineer or a developer, I always said because I hate computers. For example, like, have you ever had the situation when a computer really annoyed you? Because I had it many times, and that's my mission, kind of. So make software which doesn't annoy people, but helps people and makes good things to people. So 6 things I learned as a lead developer. This is the title. And I guess you're a bit tired, because this is the last day of the conference, and it's also Sunday. And we are before a coffee break, so it's not the best slot, maybe. And I'm kind of like a night owl, so this is actual footage of me in the morning trying to get out from bed, because my brain was like, no, sleep more, and I was like, no, I had to wake up. All right, so if you would like to join you, I would be really happy, because I bring a small game. I hope no one bring this game here, so I hope you will join for this small game. It's like this. I need you to please stand up. Oh, that was fast. I had a few lines to, oh, please, come on, stand up. All right, so it's a conference, right? Why are we going to conferences? Because the food are awesome, because the people are awesome, and the talks are awesome, and everything is checked here. So I would like to thank the organizers to bringing such a great event. I'm really amazed. This is such a cool thing. So thank you, everyone who is organizing this event. And your task will be really simple. You have to ask 2 questions, or have to tell 2 things. The first thing is you have to introduce yourself. And the second thing is tell a thought or something you will bring home from this conference to the next one standing to your right or left. Or if there is no one, then just go closer for someone, make a small group. And 2 things, introduce yourself, and then 1 ideal thought or anything you will bring home from this. So these are the rules, and you have 1 minute, starting now. All right. That was 1 minute. This is how time flies. Thank you very much. Thank you. That was actually awesome. Thank guys, you're awesome. You played the game, and you just made friends. So if everyone is asking, have you did any networking on the conference, then say, yes, I did. Yes, I did. All right, so just a few things about me. My name is Gabor, but you can call me Mefi. I came from Hungary, which is pretty close to here. I work in Budapest at a company called ingatlan.com, which is Hungary's #1 real estate listing site. I'm working as an engineering manager, head of engineering at the moment, and I'm mostly into traveling, technical leadership, and cats, or any kind of pets. These are mine cats between the summertime. These are 2 beautiful Siamese cats. Yes, the biggest one is pretty huge and pretty large. So, this is where I work. Somewhere there is an office where I work in that building. Ingatlan.com, which is Hungary's real estate listing site, we have 1 goal: to help people finding their new home, new office, or any kind of real estate, because that's really a hard thing to do, especially with these prices right now on the real estate market. And I'm working with more than 50 very talented people of engineering, like software developers, DevOps guys, QA guys, and every other kind of people in the staff. And currently I'm working as a manager of the engineering department. I have a group of 7 people, mostly with Scrum Masters, architects, engineering managers, and other kind of people. And also we recently started a fintech product, which would help people to find the best mortgage, bank account, or something like that in the financial world, because that's one of the things which is pretty hard to get into when you are new to the financial world. So let me start with this. I'm not here to talk about how to write good code, which framework to pick, how to tweak your performance or security on the site. You must ask me why. Firstly, because there were many great talks on that topic in the last 2 days, really amazing talks, people from way more smarter than me. And when you're becoming a lead developer, you will realize that you are not making the most impact with writing code. Of course, you still have to write code, pretty good code, but the biggest impact is coming not with writing code, but it's coming with having conversations. And I know we are before a coffee break, and this guy is moving around here and saying like soft skills, like some voodoo magic things. And trust me, it's not, but soft skills is really hard to learn. So it's in the name, they are soft skills, but when you are learning that, or when you're trying to do that, it's really hard. So it's when you're in a situation like a conversation, you can't really practice it well. Because, for example, if you would like to learn a new framework, what would you do? Open up your laptop, hit Google, framework's name, how to do that, watch a video, listen to a podcast, read a blog post, or do something like that. And you start practicing. And even if you don't have a site with huge traffic, for example, you can simulate that, you can try, you can play with it. But soft skills, it's a bit difficult because there are many situations which you cannot really practice because there is no adequate situation at the moment. And when you are in that situation, you are like, yes, I learned, I read what to do, and should I say that or should I not say that? So it's really hard. And let me share you one of my favorite quotes. It goes like this: you manage things, you lead people. Have you ever know this quote? Oh, it's a new one, nice. It came from Grace Hopper. She was a woman in tech, actually, way before the thing woman in tech. She was a woman in the US military, which is a pretty huge thing. And she was kind of like the author of the modern programming languages. And she believed in that you manage things and you lead people. And she's damn right, because if you would like to be a good leader, first you have to be a good manager. Because if you manage things well, then you can lead people well. But that's really a hard thing to do. So, lead developer. How many of you are a lead developer? Nice. How many of you are planning to do or soon to be a lead developer or something like that? Oh, quite a few. Nice. So there are many titles for that. Really, I Googled it, and the list is endless, kind of endless. And there is this some kind of job description on the Wikipedia page, like what a lead developer does, because you'd like to figure it out, but don't read it because it's plenty of information. But the question is still there: what does a lead dev do? And when I became a lead dev a few years ago, my mom was thinking like, I'm doing this all day. And when I told my friends, hey, I became a lead dev, he was like, you're doing this all day in the office, almost. And at the time, my manager thinks, that's what you are doing as a lead developer. And meanwhile, I was like, I just try to help people to solve problems. I just try to help my team to solve problems. And actually, that's what a lead dev does, constantly helping the team in achieving their goals. Isn't it hot here? Is it right? Or is it just me? But how? That's the question. Well, different companies have different roles, different rules, different kind of anything for that. But I have a few things which is kind of common in all the companies and all the roles. So the first one is this: by joining forces, you get a bunch of people, let's call it a team, and they have to work together with another bunch of people, and let's call it teamwork. But it's actually not. So if you have a lot of people and you have a lot of work with the people together, it's not teamwork. You have to make that. You have to make the team out of a bunch of people, and you have to make the teamwork happen and be a real thing. You must be involved in business decisions, because if you don't have a deep knowledge of the business logic and don't have a deep knowledge of the business decisions, then how could you tell people what to do next and how to write good code and how to do all the stuff, right? So you're like something like a glue which connects the people within your team and also outside of your team together. That's your job. Of course, motivation is something which comes from the inside, so every people has their own motivation level, and it should come from the inside. But you can boost it many, many ways, really, trust me. For example, just be passionate about what you're doing. you are here on the conference, that's, for example, one check mark, because you must be really passionate about your job if you are sitting here right now on a conference. And if you are passionate about what you're doing, other people will kind of like charge up from that passion. They will like, wow, that guy is really into this. I should follow her or him. And also, people will be inspired by your passion, and that's a really good thing. And if you listen to others carefully, actually it's a magical thing. Have you tried it? Just staying silent and listen to others. And I know it's strange I'm saying this because I'm speaking here all the time at the moment, but most of the time people actually telling you what they want, telling you what they want to do, what they want. And if you listen to them, people are actually will look up to you, and they will be really respectful of people who are listening to them. And please say things like, well done, job was really great, thank you for the effort. These are things people sometimes forget to say of their team members or other team members or people are working with. But also say, all right, I need you to do this better, and I can think you do this better, and I'm here to help you to do this better, because that's also an important thing. Do have a plan, because, you know, it's like, if you're a lead developer, people will ask you questions. So, like, what's happening in the company, what's happening with the project, and every kind of other things. And if you have plan what to do with your code, what to do with your team, what to do with your people around you, then it will become a success because you can answer those questions, and it's pretty important. And of course, plans change. Have you ever seen some plan or something which didn't change? Because I haven't. They change all the time. So it's like, don't worry about changes, because everything is changing. So if you have a plan and something changed, then change accordingly. That's absolutely fine thing to do. And always be prepared for the worst case scenario, and don't be paranoid or something like that, but you should be prepared for the worst case scenario. When it's happening, you are the guy in the charge, so it's like you have to have answers, you have to have quick solutions and things like that. And if you are not prepared, it's way more harder. So earlier I said you are the glue, but also you are like kind of like a hammer, which strikes on obstacles cruelly. So is there any obstacle in the front of your team, you must strike it, you must disappear it before the team gets there. It's a pretty important thing, because your job is well done when the team doesn't have like interference or any obstacles in front of them. Help others grow. That's, in my opinion, everything I've said and everything I will say, I think it's pretty important, but this is kind of like the most important thing, to help people, help others to grow. And what I mean help others to grow is like, you have many responsibilities as a lead developer, but one of them is like, you have juniors in your team, for example, and at some point they must become seniors. They might not want to, but some of them will have to become seniors. And that's part of your job to do that. Of course, it's part of their job, and there are many other people in the company who will help you and who will you work with together. But this is your duty to have a plan for that. And also, as a lead developer, you actually will need a successor. And I know it's a scary thing to say, all right, I'm doing this right now, but someone will do this after me. And it's better you to be the person who mentor and coaching the person who will be your successor than anyone other else. So by now, I guess you should realize that I'm not only bringing 6 things I learned, I bring many things I learned, but I have 6 things which was really hard to understand, to even identify, and even to learn, and then do something with it. And I try to call it the 6 most important lessons for me. Here's the first one. I am the boss of my own calendar. And it's like, I know it seems like a stupid idea, but you are a lead developer. You know what people want from you all the time? Time. Your time. And you know what is your most valuable thing? Your time. Because, for example, you only want to spend 8 hours in the office. That's your time window. And you have to divide it. around the team members who would like to ask questions to you, around the project managers or product owners who would like to discuss things with you. You need to participate in meetings. If you're working in an agile area, then you need to have be on the Scrum meetings. So it's pretty much all over the things. And if you are not saying that I am the boss of my own calendar and you're not making your own rules, then they will your calendar will look like the game, like the Find the Mine game. It's like, poof. So you must be the boss of your own calendar. And it's starting like with pretty simple things. For example, make appointments in your own company calendar, things like this. This is the time slot for me for coding. Please don't disturb. And if everyone disturbs you, ask the question, is this important? Are anything will broke if I don't come? People are going to suffer if I don't come? No, all right, then come back later. Or also have these time slots like, this is the time slot for me being with my team. I will answer those questions, we will plan things together, we're working together, we will have pair programming. Please don't disturb. And do the same thing. If someone is asking you for your time in that slot, say no. I must encourage team decisions. It might be a bold statement, but as my experiences show, I think it's always a group of people, a team, is always making a better decision, a smarter decision than an individual one. Because if you work in team, you will realize that teams are working way more smarter, way more faster. And as a lead developer, it is your duty to involve and invite others to the discussion. So it's like, there is this colleague of yours who we started just today, invite to the discussion. He might have a good idea, or she might have a good idea. Or there is this colleague of your team who is the most junior on your team, invite them as well. Because who knows, they might have a good idea. A group of people is always almost making a better decision than an individual one, trust me. Saying no is the hardest thing. Have you ever tried to say no? Was it hard? Yeah, right? For example, actually the rules are simple, so it's like, say no to unacceptable deadlines. Have you ever done that? Say no to unacceptable deadlines? Was it successful? Yeah, that's different, I know. For example, say no things you don't believe in, because you're working for things you believe in. If you don't believe in, then that's not your job, then say no. Or say no to things you think will hurt your team, will hurt your users, will hurt your own one. So it's like, say no. And say things like, I don't know, let me check this out, and I answer you. Say things like, I'm not sure, can I have a bit time to sleep about it and think about it? And trust me, it's like, again, this is this guy telling us to say no. Ooh, what a big thing. But it's really hard, actually. When I started I was a yes man before, so I started at the company and I was like yes to everything. And then I realized I spent like 14 hours in the office, and it was kind of cool, but also I didn't have life, so it's like I had to do something with this. And when I tried to say no, it was like this. All right, if I say no to them, then they will think I don't want to work, or they will think I'm not a cool guy anymore, or something like that. And it's not like that, trust me. And how to start this, or how to start to practice saying no? Next time a telesalesperson calls you, just say no thank you right away. It will be the first step, and it will be an easy step, but it helps you to start with this. I work for my team and my users, and I definitely don't work for my boss. So how many of you ever had a horrible boss? Don't worry, they won't know. Yeah, kind of like that, yeah. And you know actually why is that? Because many company is doing this. All right, you're the most senior in the team. Oh, you're the leader now. Congratulations, let's lead. And you're like, okay, what am I supposed to do now? So it's like, there are many people, my friends, sometimes my colleagues even, and in my professional networks, when people are saying, I have to do this thing because my boss told me so. And I always like, But you don't work for your boss. You work for your goals. You work for your company. You work for your project. You work almost everything, but not your boss. So if you ever feel that you have to do stupid things to your boss because of your boss, for your boss, then please quit. Right away, just quit, because it won't change, trust me. All right, I always have to be prepared for kind of like anything, because there is this saying, like, pardon my French, shit will always hit the fan. And I will say this a few more times, but shit will always hit the fan. So you have to be prepared for everything, because you are some kind of bridge between the people who makes the decisions and kind of execute the decisions. And if you are making a good bridge, then people can cross, then it's success, it's good. But if you're not prepared, for example, just a small thing, just like someone asking a question, and you're not prepared, and you were like, then you can practice saying no or saying later, but still, be prepared for almost anything, and not just the bad things. For example, changes in the company, changes in the scopes, changes in the project. Be prepared for the good things as well, because I've seen this many times, that something good happening to a team, for example, they release some heavy project, they are working on months, and they will release like, oh, I'm done with this. And they were like, all right, let's go home. And I was like, you know, let's have a drink, let's have a dinner. So be prepared for the bad and for the good things as well. And I also have this one. It looks like a funny one, and I promise this is the last Pulp Fiction reference in the presentation. But it's like, don't be this. So don't be a square, because it's not a nice thing. Be open. That's way more better to be open. Open to solutions, open to ideas, open to discussions, and most of all, be open to people, because that's the thing to do. Be diverse. It's really simple. It's a word you are hearing all the way on conferences and blog posts and everything. And it's like it's a hard thing, but it's really not. It's really simple. Trust me. You just have to do this. It doesn't matter whoever you work with. Doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter if he's a man, she's a woman. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if he's younger or she's older. It doesn't matter. With someone who speaks your language or you are speaking a different language together, doesn't matter. The only thing matter is their knowledge, their passion, and they're willing to do. And I know it might sound bullshit a bit, but this is really what is important. And you should always grade people by these values and nothing else. And of course the work they done, nothing else, period. So don't be a circle, be open. All right, so these were the 6 things, and you might going to be a lead developer. That's a nice thing. Congratulations. What's to do now? I had a few more tips for you. Spend at least 50% of your time coding. And one more time again, why do you say me this? Like, since 50% of my time coding, it's like, okay, I will spend 50% of my time coding. But it's like, when you became a lead developer, everyone wants your time. They always are bringing you to meetings, they are always bringing you to very important decisions, very important questions, and you won't have time for coding. I spoke with many lead developers from many countries, from many companies, and they always saying me this. This is the most problem of them for all. They don't have time for coding. So spend at least 50% of your time coding. Do you know this? It's kind of like the same I mentioned earlier on the before slide. So have these slots in your calendar. It's called effective work management. All right. Here's also a brave one, please don't hurt me. Refactoring should not be your mission. So it's like, I know there is this piece of bad code. It's a cringe, right? You want to change it, you want to go dive into it deep in the most of the part and explode it and make a new good code of it. And many engineers doing that. And here's this thing. Does that code failing its job? No, so it's working perfectly. Okay. Does it in the way of anything, of your team, of your project, of your schedule? No? Fine. Does it hurt anything besides your eyes, of course, if you watch it? No? Then leave this. It will run. It will run for ages. Have you ever seen a code in a banking area? Those things are run. Run for ages. So don't refactor everything. Refactor what you have to refactor. So if, for example, for those questions, you have the answer like, yes, it's not working properly, it's on the way, it's hurting every other thing which is connected to it, then refactor it. Then it's your job to make a decision to refactor it. But otherwise, let it as be. If it can break, it will break. I guess you might know it, you might heard it some previous talks or anywhere. Pretty obvious thing, of course, but how many of you had like aborted a pretty good drinking session or binge watching something on Netflix before, after working hours because something broke? How many of you? Not so few. Okay, quite a few. So yeah, beware, if it can break, it will break. You have to be prepared for that. Have you ever heard the word MVP? It's kind of like, it sounds like the most valuable product, sorry. And it's a favorite thing for managers sometimes and for business people sometimes, because it's like this. We have this huge project. We know it took a lot of time to release it, to deploy it, to make it. But we can start it small. And that's actually a great idea. Start everything small. Make small things, and then it can become bigger, because if you start a big thing, then it will be a mess. But many people and many companies are doing this, like, oh, this is an MVP. And by MVP, they meaning a shitty code, which doesn't work, which doesn't success in the business needs. And that's pretty bad thing. So for example, we had this story a few years ago at our company. It was like, we had this proof of concept code for someone had an idea, and yeah, let's have a proof of concept code if it could work. And yeah, it could work. Okay, it looks like this. And some of the stakeholders told us to, all right, let's do this. And we asked, what? Let's deploy this. It works perfectly. And we were like, no, there is load, there is security, there are many other things. And we were saying no, 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 no. And they were like, yes, yes, yes. And of course we released it. Guess what happened? 2 minutes later, the whole site crashed. It was like 2 days for us to clean the mess up and make some kind of production code which is kind of working. And it's still in production, and it's called now tech debt, and we are fighting against it, and it's pretty hard. So yeah, an MVP is only good if it's a real MVP, and you kind of like doing this. So if you want something to get from point A to point B, you don't have to build an airplane for first, because that's pretty complicated. But you have different kind of methods which you can follow. I really like this chart because of that, because we actually did the first thing. So we wanted a car, and we had kind of like the thing on the second point, and we released it, and of course it didn't work because it's not a car. So yeah, MVPs are cool, but do in a good way. There is this thing called butterfly effect, too many movies related topics, sorry. It's a real thing. So I'm working with a lot of legacy code. We have, our company is 20 years old, and some of the code are actually 20 years old. And it's quite challenging, but in a good way, because you can learn a lot of things from working with legacy code. But the legacy code is working like, kind of like this. You press the elevator button on the first floor, and the Xerox machine blows up on the 6th floor. That's legacy code. That's how it works. So you should write tests. And I know one more time there is this guy, and he's telling like, should write tests because it's like 1997. Yeah, we should write tests. But whenever I go to a conference or a meetup or any kind of professional community, there's always this hot topic like write tests, how to write tests. Oh yes, we have tests. And whenever I go to a different company and have discussions about what's the problems and what are you doing, what are you not doing, and they're always like, how about testing? We kind of have a few tests. Are you running it regularly? Oh no, sometimes someone, something doing with it, but nah. So it's like that, you write tests, especially if you work with legacy code. It's a must-have for you to write tests, really. One more small comic, because it's also with the legacy and without tests, so it's like, yeah, I have 99 problems. I saw one, and I have 127 problems. That's a lot. Let's call it a day. Also, here's this thing. Business is not your enemy. Actually, it's your friend. Because, for example, in general, businesses kind of creates a job for you. Also, kind of pays your bills. It's strange, but it's true. If you have a software without any users, then it's just a piece of code. So if you would like to sell it, then you need business. And if you don't understand business and you can't communicate with business, then you will have lots of problems, especially as a lead developer. So think it this way, business is not your enemy. They don't want bad things, they want good things as well, just as like you. So you have to work together. And there is this thing I always hear, like their stuff and our stuff and our stuff, but there is nothing like that. So there is only us. It's like a boat, you know, and you're together in that boat, and you have to go together. Because if you don't understand the business, or the business doesn't understand you, then it will be a catastrophe, trust me. So how you can say that you are a successful lead developer, or you are working with a successful lead developer? It's kind of like this kind of stuff: well-written code, green builds, smooth releases, all the things you can imagine, motivated team. But it really simplifies to this. If there is a team with people who are proud of their work, there must be a successful lead dev behind them, because that is his job or her job. And if you allow me, I would like to finish with 1 second quote. This is my second favorite quote. It came from Theodore Roosevelt, 26th President of the United States. And he said, "The only man who makes no mistakes is the man who never does anything." And I encourage you to be brave, make mistakes. Everyone does that, really. Everyone makes mistakes. And it only proves that you are working, you are doing your job. You made a mistake, cool. But also, please learn from your mistakes, because that's what brings you forward in your journey, becoming a lead developer or any kind of other stuff. Thank you very much for your attention. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask me. Oh, it's on Slido.
We're just gonna open Slido. 1 second. That's it.
Then I just go there. That's a pretty great question, actually. I had those situations. I mean, I wasn't the one involved in romantic situations, but all right, here is the story. Monday morning, of course, and I'm going to the office, and one of the product owners come to me like, "We should talk." And I was like, "What happened?" There is this guy A in my team, who is the lead developer, actually, and there is this girl B, and they are kind of like working together. And I was like, "Yeah, I know, they are in one team." "No, I mean outside of work. I mean, they're working outside of..." No, they are together." I was like, "Oh, thanks for the information. What can I do with that?" They must be separated or something. And it was the most embarrassing conversations in my professional life ever, in the top 3 at least. And I was walking to the guy, we are friends actually, so it was cool. And I was like, "You know, there is this thing. Is it okay for you? So can you work this out?" And he was like, "Yeah, of course. We talked about it. It could work. And whenever you see it doesn't work, please let me know, and we change it." So I think you shouldn't separate them. You shouldn't move them along, because it's like, we are people. We are having these things, so don't worry about it. As long as the work is done, then other things are actually not so important. Where should I watch? What is my biggest challenge so far as a leader?
Thank you.
Many of them. First was becoming a leader, because... Do I have time for one more short story, maybe?
Yes, you have
Okay.
25 more minutes.
Oh, plenty of time. So it's like this. I wanted to be a leader, and I go for my boss, "Hey, I want to be a leader. There is this position, I want to fit in there." And he was like, "Nah, I wouldn't think you will be a fit." I was like, "Okay, why?" And it was like, "Yeah, because I think you wouldn't go along with the CEO." I was like, Okay, is there a test for that or something like that? Because it sounds stupid for the first time. So that was one first biggest challenge. And please, if you want to be a leader, just go. It's the rudest thing if someone is telling you what not to be or what you cannot be. It's the rudest thing. Just go, go for your goals. The second biggest challenge was actually, I tried to do the best, or the really most biggest challenge. Yeah, the first time when I had to fire someone, it was really hard because he was a good guy. I knew him from years long, and he just wasn't a fit to the company culture. And we tried to work together. I said no to later, so it was like 2 months. I'm trying to change him, change the way he works, and then the HR told me that this is the point when you have to finish it. It was the second biggest challenge, I guess. So kind of like that.
Okay, next question. What is a list of skills that a good team leader should have? How would you choose next team leader with your team, or would you hire?
It is really hard to hire a leader. So it's like when I became head of engineering, I was an engineering manager of the development team before that. And I said, all right, let's find my successor. And I had a guy from the team who was kind of like the best choice for that position. And I wasn't wanted to pick him because he was kind of like the most senior guy in the team. And we tried to hire a new person, and we had like 30 interviews or so, and it didn't work out, so we picked the guy. And the skills, I would say communication, of course, it is a must-have. So it's like a lead developer should and must be communicative with team leaders, with project managers, with product owners, with stakeholders, with developers. So they kind of need to have a mixed language of both worlds. That's the first skill. Passion is the second, because if you pick someone like, you are the lead developer from now, it might be good, but I don't think so. So if someone has passion and someone wants to do something, then they might be, I'm sure they will be successful in that. And they of course must have a great variety of technological skills, but I wouldn't suggest to pick the most senior member of your group, of your teams, to be a leader, because it could work, of course. There are many people for them to work, but in many times you don't need the most senior technical people to be a lead developer, because it's really a mixed things of soft skills and hard skills.
Okay, thank you. Next question. Could you compare your stress levels before and after you became a tech leader?
Yeah, there was a peak when I became a tech leader. The stress level was like 1,000 out of 100 or something like that. It was really, really, really big. Then it started to, it's kind of like if you change your company or change your, I don't know, what are you doing actually? It's the same. So you are in a new situation. It's stressful. It's of course it's many new challenges. But then you are starting to grow into it. So it's kind of like the same when you were a junior developer and you started your first day on your first job. It was like, oh my God, am I going to be good? Or at least for me, it was like that. Am I going to be good here? There are many smart people here. I'm not so smart. Is it going to work out? So it's like, it was like that. But then it's kind of like normal now. So, but also it's kind of like a sinus. So we have times and we have, peaks when my stress level is way more up, and there are times when my stress level is fully normal. So it's just like another job, actually.
Next question. How to successfully request a complete code rewrite of the legacy app? Management usually don't believe it will pay out on the long run.
Oh, yeah. So we had this 20 years old legacy code. It wasn't nice, trust me. So there was this code like shit.php in production code, and it has like a variable called squirrel, and it was valued like I'm from inside the office, and global variables were turned on, and if you brought this to the URL and said 1, then the code know you are from the office, so they can trust you. So this was the code we were working with, trust me. And it's really, really hard, because we had many generations of rewriting codes. So the first was this. Someone told the management, we have to rewrite everything. And they were like, okay. And for some, I don't know why, but for some reason, someone told us that start with the front-end application. And other people were like, yeah, but the backend is kind of like a dump. So it's like we had a database of like thousands of tables and things, so it's like a mess. And no, the front end, because it will look nice. We will have a new nice web page. Okay. So we had a project to kill tech debt, and we made even bigger tech debt with that. Management wasn't happy, of course. It was like, our CEO said, we never, ever again rewrite any code. And if I hear refactoring, I fire everyone. So this was like this. All right, so we rested a bit, a few months, a half year maybe. And there was the second part when we had this very talented architect who told us that we should rewrite the backend like we have 2 applications, and we had 1 big application, and he told us to make 2 separate smaller applications. Sounds nice, right? And they started to do that. It was half-a-year project, and didn't write any tests. And well, it's working, and it's in production now, and it's not such a bad code, but it was like, it was like a rough round. And then, like the third wheel, we realized how to do this well. So we are doing it like this now. If we have a project, a new product or anything, we check what's around it. All right, so it's, I don't know, we have to modify something in the users management, okay. We have to modify something in the invoicement module, okay. And we check the tech debt around those areas, and we rewrite specifically those areas which need to be used in the new project. And with this model, it's really successful, because actually the work is within the project, so it's not like you are working and you are killing tech debt, which is not working in some people's eyes. So it's like together. And also we are doing this. We had the old legacy code, and we had in front of it a new Symfony framework code. And whenever they write something, because there is a new product or project or anything else, they move that piece of code, rewrite it into the new Symfony framework code, and all the rest of the code goes back to the legacy. And this is kind of like a good way, because you can like balance the business needs and the technological needs. Sorry, long answer, but I hope I answered the question well.
Next question has 9 likes.
Has 9 likes?
Yeah,
oh, yeah.
Who is causing most problems, devs, PMs, or POs?
All of them when they are not talking. Because I always facing this, like there is dev with some problem, and sometimes it feels like I'm Sherlock Holmes or something, because I listen to the story. All right, I have story A. Then I go to the PM, for example, listen to the story. I have story B. And go to the third guy, I don't know who was it, but I go to them, and it's a C story, and I merge it, and oh, I see, here, you should have talked, but you didn't. And I was going like, have you talked? No, because, why? Because, it's like, it's crap anyway. So it's like, I couldn't say someone who is making the most of the problem. It's always communication for me as well.
Okay. Thank you. Would you agree that answering no or yes requires proper arguments or an argument?
It depends. So it's like you ask me something to do which I wouldn't dare or wouldn't like. I guess I can say no without arguments, because like, no, I don't want to do that, sorry. And that's it, no argument points. But of course, if you are, for example, have a discussion about some technological solution or some product solution or anything else, you need good argument points. But saying no is mostly in your view. So it's like your aspects, yourself. You're saying no because you don't want to do something. And don't think it's like, nah, I don't want to work today, so I say no, because it's not like that. It's like something you don't believe in, something you think might have bad effects on your team. And of course, in that case, you will need to have points of arguments, like, I think this couldn't work because of this, this, and that, and you can have a talk about it. But if it's your point of view, then, and you don't want to do something, then I guess you don't need to have any argument points.
Okay, I'm gonna read another one, not as listed. What if developers says to you no?
Nice one. It happens many times. Mostly to the manager, because I talk mostly to the engineering manager who manages the development team. And here's the thing. I always trying to work like this. I should not say the how, right? Because that's for them. So it's like, I want to say, I want to go there. Okay, I'm here now, we are here now. I want to go there. I don't say, please bring me an electronic scooter to go to that door. I say to you, like, I want to go there. And if you say, I guess you can walk there because it's like 10 steps, then I will say, okay, I walk there. And many times they are saying no. They are saying no because there is some problem. And we just have a discussion about why not. And I don't feel bad if someone says no, because part of the job. I will actually happy if someone says no.
And the last one. How do you organize your time with the Q&As when team members or project managers come to you with a lot of questions? You schedule meetings or something else?
Multiple ways. Mostly I have this thing like called No Meeting Friday. I'm sitting at my desk and doing work, but if everyone walks into my office and asks a question, I reply them, of course. But I don't allow anyone to schedule a meeting point for that day. Also, I realized that there are the quick questions, which is like yes or no, and there are those questions where, oh, sorry, do you have 5 minutes? Only 5 minutes, and suddenly 45 minutes later, what happened? And it's always like this. If someone comes to me, like, do you have 5 minutes? And if I'm not going to a meeting or something like that, then I ask, okay, 5 minutes, let's talk. And if I say, all right, I cannot answer you right now, or won't be enough, 5 minutes won't be enough for that, then I say, okay, I see this is important for you. I see that you want to talk about this. I really want to talk about this. I want to hear your opinion, but please find a meeting in my calendar because I have to go now and I don't want to neglect your topic. So kind of like this.
Great applause, thank you.
Thank you.